What's going on, guys? Bringing you the trade sim video today. Look at the trade that went down late last night. Kind of a shocker to me, honestly. You got Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost being traded from the Philadelphia Flyers to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jakob Pelletier, a 2nd and 7th round pick. The reason I was so surprised by this trade is I honestly thought Farabee and Frost were going to be two players that are kind of part of the Flyers' future core they're building around. Apparently not. So I'll look at them here in game. As you guys can see, Joel Farabee, medium toxic potential, is 24 years old, 84 overall. He is making $5 million for the next 4 years. So a lot of people I saw saying, you know, this is almost like a cap dump because not having the greatest season this year. But last year he had 50 points. The year before that, again, only 39, but still, like, last year he had 50 points. That's not that bad. $5 million is about the going rate for a 50-point player, and the fact he's only 24 means, you know, he still could get better. You're allowed to have down years, at least in my opinion. And then Morgan Frost, too. Solid, like, you know, 3C, low-end 2C, in my opinion. You guys can see he's a year older there at 25. 83 overall, also medium top 6 in game. Now, he was due a raise this summer. Last year, it was $2.1 million deal. You guys can see his stats here. He's a two-way forward. Actually, pretty solid defensively. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Offensively, again, you know, not too bad. Last year, he had 40 points in 71 games. The year before that, he was close to 50 points. So he'll probably be getting $4.5 to $5 million on that new contract. So again, like, these are good middle 6 forwards, and they're both still pretty young in their mid-20s. So again, just kind of surprised to see the Flyers move on from them, but clearly, you know, they're trying to go even younger with this rebuild. Now, the Calgary Flames here, I think, get them honestly pretty cheap here, giving up Andrei Kuzmenko. You guys can see here in games 83 overall, a bit older there at 28. He's on an expiring deal, so good chance, you know, he'll be gone this summer, maybe even back to the KHL. Hasn't really been the same player since that first year with the Canucks, almost a point per game. I think a big reason for that, Petey was having a career year that season. Kuzmenko definitely benefited. Last year, between the Canucks and the Flames, he was okay. This year, he's doing even worse. And last year, when he was having a little bit better of a season, he was still basically just like a cap throw-in for the Elias Lindholm trade the Canucks made at the deadline. And I think, again, he's being traded to the Flyers here for cap purposes. And then you got Jakob Pelletier out of the trade. Now, he's like a solid young player. It's really tough to judge Pelletier. For whatever reason, I've always been a big fan of his. I think probably just because of the 2021 World Juniors he was like a point per game. But he's a guy that's never really proven himself at the NHL level. I know that a lot of Flames fans are, you know, high on him, but you look at his stats like this year and last year, he basically split time between the NHL and AHL, has yet to prove himself as a true NHL player. So obviously he's going to get the chance with the Flyers, but I feel like, you know, for him, definitely, you know, a year younger there than Joel Farabee. Farabee's much more proven, putting up, you know, a 50-point season last year. Now, the Flames also give up their 2nd round pick, which will probably be a mid-round pick. We'll see whether or not they actually make the playoffs. And then a 7th round pick in 2028. Fully, like, honestly, so many trades that happen nowadays remind me of franchise mode. It's like, they were doing this trade, and then Danny Briere was like, you know what? I need a 7th round pick in 2028 if I'm willing to pull the trigger on this one. So, right there, guys, is the trade. Again, I think, you know, Farabee, obviously much better than Pelletier, making more money, but Flames actually save $500K trading away Kuzmenko, and then they bring in Frost, who's making $2 million. We'll need to raise this summer, but again, he's a solid young 3C. And if you look at the Flames in the standings right now, they're fighting for that final wildcard spot in the West. It's basically a 50-50 between them and the Canucks. The Canucks obviously still have tons of turmoil with Petey, with Miller, so I think the Flames are trying to capitalize, bring in a couple solid players here, help their playoff chances. As you guys can see, in game, the value's on our side, medium difficulty. I think the Flyers might say yes. Trades accepted. Okay, this might be one, honestly, that gets accepted both sides. And now right here, guys, what the Flames lines might look like when they're healthy. So I've got Huberdeau, Kadri, and Coronado in the first line. Coronado actually just had a great game tonight. I know Popsell's playing there right now, but I think he'll probably drop to the 4th once everyone's healthy. And then I've got Farabee playing with Frost and Zary on the 2nd line. I think this is actually kind of a really cool line. Obviously, they probably want to keep Frost and Farabee together for the chemistry. And then you got Zary that line, another young player at 22 years old. I feel like that could be a really solid 2nd line for the Flames for at least the next couple of years. 3rd line there, you got Coleman, Backlund, Sharon Govich. Obviously, Coleman, Backlund are solid defensively. Mantha, Popsill, Lomberg down the 4th. Now, defensively, I don't know if this is a quite playoff defense, but I look at the Flames. Like, if they get in, I'm definitely not picking them to win round 1. You got Hanley on the top pair right now with Anderson, Weegar, Bean, Ball, and Barry. Now, maybe when Ball's healthy, he'd be on the top pair. I'm not actually sure. Flames fans, let me know. In game, obviously, that makes a lot more sense. Goaltending, Dustin Wolf, of course, playing great this year in his rookie season. I think a big reason why Flames are doing so well. And now right here, guys, your first look at Joel Farabee as a Calgary Flame in game. You can see there rocking number 86. Again, when I saw this trade on Twitter, I was pretty shocked. Like I said, I thought, you know, Farabee and Frost were going to be Flyers for a long time. And speaking of Morgan Frost, guys, one of the worst game faces I think I've seen in NHL 25. Frost 48. When I think of Morgan Frost, I definitely think of him being clean shaven. Now, I found a pic that I think they based this off of, but still, like, not very close. And now next year, guys, we're trying to trade from the Flyers perspective. I should mention too, obviously right now the Flyers nowhere near a playoff spot, so they're clearly a seller. I just think it's kind of interesting that they're selling guys that are, in their mid-20s, guys, I thought you could build for with the future. I did see someone make a really good point though. Kuzmenko actually did play with Michkov back in the KHL, so maybe they're hoping there's some chemistry still there. If there is, they could look to re-sign him this summer. Again, though, I think they should have gotten more for Farabee and Frost. Now, I don't know if I showed you guys before Kuzmenko's, total stats here in games. Got the big tipper, X factor there. I can see not the fastest player, but pretty good shot. He's good in front of the net. Jakob Pelletier, two-way forward. Just kind of like, a mid player. Like I said, he hasn't really broken through quite yet. They're then getting back to second round pick 2025. The Flames do have on the block. And the 2028 seventh round pick. So classic. And now it looks like the Flames are interested in Farabee. And let's see, they're also interested in Morgan Frost. So even though the value's a bit on the Flames side, they want both players' picks on the block. Like I said, this could be an accept on both sides, but I think, doesn't happen too often. Trades rejected. Wow, okay, I thought, that one might go through. As always, guys, the trade difficulty is set to medium. Does EA feel like the 7th was too much? Is that where it becomes fair?
Nope.
Even with the 7th taken off, they still think the Flyers won this one. Like I said, in real life, I think the Flames won it. And there we go. It's a 3rd round pick value. Okay, so they think it was a 3rd, not a 2nd, a 7th. Again, I gotta disagree. And after the trade, guys, here's what the Flyers lines might look like when they're healthy. So you got Tippett, Trey, Konechny on the first line. Again, Michkov reunite with Kuzmenko there on the second. Scott Lawton in the middle. He's another guy I could definitely see the Flyers trade. He's got 1 more year at $3 million. Pretty cheap deal for a guy like him that can kind of do it all. Third line there, you got Forster, Cates, and Brink. And then fourth line, you got Hathaway, Palin, Pelletier. Now, Pelletier's playing fourth line left wing. You also got Deslauriers, who, Torts might sub in for him instead. So if they're healthy, Pelletier might find himself in a similar situation, sometimes in the lineup, sometimes not. And what's kind of funny is just like Calgary, Flyers defense definitely not too great. You got York, Sanheim top pair, which isn't bad, but then Ristolainen, Sealer, Zamula, Drysdale could be better. Goaltending for them as well, definitely their weakest spot. Samuel Ersson, Ivan Fedotov have not been great this season, so curious to see what they do in that regard. And now right here, guys, your first look at Andrei Kuzmenko as a Philadelphia Flyer wearing number 96. Honestly, I don't think that looks too bad for him. And now right here, guys, before in the video, you can see Jakob Pelletier as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers. As always, guys, let me know in the comment section below who do you think won the trade. And if you did enjoy this video, leave that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.